Last week, my family said farewell to my nephew Ollie. He was just 15 when he took his own life. He was a beautiful, creative, courageous young man. He was gay, he was uncertain about his gender, and he struggled with his mental health. Clearly, the love and acceptance of his family and friends were not enough.
Late last night, Labor MP Stephen Jones offering a moving reminder of what's at stake in the religious discrimination debate.
The thing that every parent of every gay or trans kid knows, that the love and protection that we provide for them inside our family and inside our homes is not enough. It is not enough. At some stage, they have to step out into the world and deal with it as it is. So we as parliamentarians have the power to shape that world by what we do and what we say and how we vote. What message do we want to send to our kids?
Today, Labor proposed amendments that would send a clear message, ditching the right to make hurtful, hateful or threatening statements on the basis of genuinely held beliefs and prohibiting discrimination in faith-based aged care facilities. Labor also proposed amendments to the Sex Discrimination Act that would protect both teachers and students from sexuality and gender-based discrimination.
People of faith deserve to feel safe in our society, as do members of the LGBTQI+ community. I believe it's possible to balance these two things, but I don't think the bill as it stands hits the mark.
There was still one thing missing, a convincing argument as to why we need this religious discrimination bill in its current flawed form or any form.
What I don't want to see is legislation forced through the House that is not ready, and this bill is not ready.
Well, ABC Insiders host David Spears comes to us now from the belly of the beast. Spearsy, what's the latest?
Well, it's looking like this is going to be a pretty late night of drawn-out debate in the House of Reps before it can go to the Senate. The Senate's only sitting tomorrow. They're not back until the end of March for only 2 days when the budget's delivered, and then it's the election. So the clock's really ticking on this. And right now, it's very unclear, beyond a drawn-out debate, where this is going to land.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about moderate Liberals crossing the floor. Do you think that's still possible?
Yeah, we know one at least will cross the floor. That's Bridget Archer from Tasmania. She said she will. She's not going to cop this bill. She's particularly worried that trans kids could still be expelled from a religious school. Other Liberal MPs aren't happy with the bill but haven't quite gone as far as her in saying they'll cross the floor. They'll vote against it. So it's a bit of a wait and see what they do. And I can tell you behind the scenes a lot of negotiation and arm twisting going on. For Labor, well, we know there are mixed views within Labor on this as well. They want to move amendments to fix some of these problems in the bill. And fair enough, they've made what those changes are very clear. But what we don't know from Labor, and this goes to some of their concerns politically here as well, is if those amendments don't get up, what they do. Would they vote it down? Would they vote it through? They're being a little bit cagey about that.
And they will not reveal, I imagine, until the moment arrives. But those amendments still are in play, I gather. Can you foresee any scenario where those amendments get voted in, perhaps with the support of some Liberals who cross the floor?
Yes. Now, this is possible in either the lower house or in the Senate. Now, it's being debated in the lower house at the moment before it goes to the Senate. It is technically possible that Labor moves these amendments that would help protect trans kids and so on. You'd have to get, I think, about 3 Liberal MPs crossing the floor for this to get through. And at the moment, they're not there, those numbers. They could be. We'll see. And all eyes are on some of those moderates like Trent Zimmerman and others. But in the Senate, again, it's difficult to know exactly where the crossbench lands and whether the numbers would be there. So technically, it is possible that Labor's amendments get up. That would be an embarrassment for the government, but they're not there yet.
Well, this could go so many different ways. Is that the worst case scenario for the government? What is that worst case scenario for the PM?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, right? Because there are mixed views within the government on this, OK? This is personally important to Scott Morrison. He promised this before the last election. We know his own faith and how important that is to his whole persona. He hasn't yet delivered it. We're nearly out of time in this parliament, so he needs to get something through. And we know there are divisions in his ranks. Others in the government, though, aren't too fussed or phased about this. It's not personally important to them. They know it'd be embarrassing to lose a vote, but really they don't care one way or the other. There are some Conservatives, though, who do feel passionately about providing some sort of religious protection against religious discrimination. So it'd be embarrassing for the government to lose. I think one outcome to keep an eye on is if they just run out of time and this whole thing gets shelved and nothing happens.
All right, we'll watch and see, Spearsy. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.